Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys, brought to you by the National Hockey Now Network. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, presented by National Hockey Now. Saturday, June 10th, Ian Cameron with you. Alex B. Smith, questionable, if you will, for this show. Remember, he did have a birthday a couple days ago. I'm wondering if he's still shaking off the after effects of the partying that went down during it. So we may or may not have Alex today, but that's okay. This is going to be a very, very short show. Very short show. I'll be leaving later this afternoon to go out of town and spend the day with people in Toronto, friends of mine there, and take in all the sporting events, of course, the Stanley Cup Final tonight and the big UFC pay-per-view. So it'll be a fun day ahead. It is Game 4 tonight. We're going to just jump right into it here on this Saturday edition of the show. It is Game 4, NHL Stanley Cup Final, Vegas Golden Knights, Florida Panthers. Even money price now here in Game 4, minus 110 on both sides, 5.5 the total, shaded to the over. This actually opened with Florida minus 125 as home favorites here in Game 4, plus 105 on Vegas. But we've definitely seen some Golden Knights money and Golden Knights action here in the betting markets leading up to Game 4 here tonight. And when you look at Game 3, and I think if people just look at the final score and see 3-2 Florida in overtime without watching the game, I think the first reaction is going to be, wow, Florida responded. What a great performance. They're right back in the series. They've got to feel very confident again. I don't think that could be further from the truth. Vegas played a hell of a Game 3, in my opinion. Florida didn't really get much going. There was a time in that game late in the second period that down 2-0 at home in Game 3 in a must-win game. There was a time with about 5 or 6 minutes to go in the second period where Florida had 14 shots on goal. That's it. And Vegas was just choking off the neutral zone, making it very difficult to make plays, to get into the offensive zone for the Florida Panthers. And it was like that for the majority of the game. You know, and it was kind of one of those games where, yeah, Florida gets the victory. They obviously get another, one of many, obviously, in these playoffs, clutch goals from Matthew Tkachuk with the extra attacker to tie the game in Game 3. And then, of course, Carter Verhaeghe. Credit to him. That's what you do in overtime. That's what you do to try to score goals in the playoffs. Vegas did this to Florida quite a bit in Game 1 and Game 2. So I guess it was fitting that, hey, turnabout is fair play. And it was about time Florida figured out that's what we should be fucking doing as well. Just let the puck go, shoot it toward the net, see if you can get some bodies and traffic in front of the net to take away the vision of Adin Hill. And that's exactly how that Carter Verhaeghe goal was scored in overtime. And like I said, Florida giving Vegas a little bit of their own medicine because the Golden Knights had definitely scored many goals that way in winning the first 2 games of this series. So Florida found a way when they really didn't play that great, in my opinion, but they tied it late and then they got the winner in overtime, 3-2. So, you know, if you look at this game now here in Game 4 and you think to yourself, okay, Florida was kind of fortunate. Vegas still outplayed them for the most part in that game. Florida really didn't correct the discipline. That's another thing and they won in spite of it. But again, penalized way too much, in the box way too much. Now, I will say the penalty that was given to Florida late in the third period, which gave Vegas a power play opportunity to end the game early in overtime in Game 3. What a horseshit call that was. And Paul Maurice on the Panthers bench, you know, had every reason to be livid with that call in Game 3 at the end, saying that's not a trip. Go watch it again. He says, you can see, he said, go watch it again. He said, I could read his lips there at the end of the third period saying you missed that. And it wasn't a trip. It was just an awful miss. And to call that kind of penalty in a tie game with overtime on the horizon was just absolutely brutal in that situation. But Florida survived it. They killed off the penalty in overtime. And then, of course, Carter Verhaeghe scores a few minutes later. But the point I'm trying to make is Florida didn't play a great game. Vegas still played pretty well. And you know what the scary part is for Vegas? And based on everything I've heard from their players and from Bruce Cassidy after Game 3, they think they could play a lot better. Okay, I didn't think they played that bad because they controlled the play. They had, I think, probably a little bit more. They had the puck a lot more, in my opinion, than Florida in 3. And yet this team was still not satisfied with their game, obviously because they lost. That's a big part of it. But I think the leading up to the loss, Bruce Cassidy said it. I don't think we played that bad, but I know we can get to another level. We can get to that. I'll tell you the level he's looking for. I'll tell you the level Vegas is looking for as a team going into tonight. They're looking for that Game 6 closeout game level against Edmonton in the second round. They're looking for that Game 6 closeout game level that they played against Dallas in the Western Conference Final. And if you think back to those two games in particular, and even the closeout game against Winnipeg, I thought it was just dominance. And they showed it in Game 6 against Edmonton, especially in the third period of that Edmonton Game 6, where Edmonton barely got anything, in terms of great chances with the greatness that is McDavid and Draisaitl on that team. And Vegas didn't give them a whole bunch of quality looks. And then it goes without saying, the closeout game in Game 6 against Dallas was a thing of perfection or close to it. If you were to bottle up maybe the perfect playoff game performance, it probably would have been that Game 6 for the Vegas Golden Knights against Dallas. So that's what they're looking for. They know they have it in them. They've shown it multiple times. That kind of game, that kind of just, we don't give them much. We reload our back pressure on the puck from not only the defense, but from the forwards helping out is spot on. And you just don't give your opponent any room out there. While Vegas is the ones that are generating all the looks, all the chances, all the best opportunities to put the puck in the net. They have shown this kind of game multiple times. I don't know if we're going to see it tonight, but I think we're going to see something close to it tonight from the Vegas Golden Knights, who have actually, if you go back and look, when's the last time this team's dropped 2 playoff games in a row? It's been a while that we have seen it. If you go back and look, I think it was actually the Game 4 and was the back-to-back losses when they were up 3-0 against Dallas. They lost Game 4 and they lost Game 5 in that series, and then they closed it out in Game 6. So really, other than that, though, they have not been a team that's really done a whole lot as far as losing 2 games in a row is concerned. So, I look at this matchup here tonight, and yeah, Florida is back in the series, and maybe Florida can up their ante, and maybe they've planted that seed of doubt in Vegas, and maybe Vegas is a little shook that they controlled Game 3 and Florida ties it late and loses in overtime. But the one thing I know about Vegas is they're not usually a team to show any sort, at least in this year's playoffs, any sort of mental deflation, if you will. They have not really shown that here in these playoffs. So, and the one thing that Florida again did not correct in Game 3, in spite of the victory, was the issues with their taking too many penalties. Again, they were in the box just far too much. 6 times they were shorthanded, 7 in Game 1. It's too much. And of course, they had and you look at all the penalties. I mean, that's something they've got to correct. I mean, they have been shorthanded 17 times in the first 3 games of this series. That's too much if you're Florida. So that, again, has the potential to hurt them, and it almost did. What if Vegas scores on that power play early in overtime? It's a 3-0 series, and Florida's pretty much done. That is how close it was. So they've got to be able to get that part of it, under control in terms of the number of penalties they're taking. This is a tough game because Florida did finally get a win. They do have a little positive momentum going into tonight. The home team, and I don't love trends like this because this is a playoff series now. It doesn't mean it's going to continue, but for some reason, the home team seems to win when it's Florida versus Vegas. It's, I believe, now 8 straight times we've seen the home team win head-to-head between the Golden Knights and the Panthers. And again, we've seen the home team win every game so far in this series, but I'm not betting the home team to win tonight in this game. I'm going to be on Vegas. It's not best bet material, if you will, but I just think if we replicate game 3 and really replicate the first 3 games of this series, in each game, Vegas would win it 9 times out of 10 because they were better than Florida in game 1. They were better than Florida in game 2. And even in the game 3 loss, I thought for 55 minutes, 57 minutes, whenever that tying goal went in by Tkachuk, I thought for sure, Vegas was the better team again in game 3 on Thursday night. I do. I mean, the crowd was really quiet when it was 2-1 in the third period. Florida really wasn't, and Florida was not. Florida was absolutely not peppering Aiden Hill with a bunch of chances and a bunch of shots when they were down 2-1. It took for that extra attacker situation and the puck to just bounce right there to Tkachuk to tie it up until they finally got one of those really good, clean looks, to score a goal. So I thought Vegas, really ended up playing still a pretty good game. So I think Vegas still has it in them to seize control, seize command of this series once again, and take it back to Florida up 3-1 with a chance to win game 5 at home. Best price currently with Vegas is minus 105 because, again, we have seen some movement. So it's moved to around minus 105 right now here on the Vegas Golden Knights. So I like Vegas here minus 105. I'm coming back to the well with, it's cashed in every game in this series so far. We're going back to it tonight as well with over 1.5 minus 125 in the first period. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It keeps on cashing in. And I expect that again tonight. And I'm not touching the full game total. Full game total is 5.5. It is 6 at a couple of books, but the majority have it at 5.5. I'm not touching the full game total because I could see this being like game 3. You get your 2 goals in the first 20 minutes, and then it slows down and it tightens up after that. And remember, the series is progressing into the deeper waters now. Game 4 tonight. And then if we're going to get to game 5 on Tuesday night, which will possibly be the first elimination game in this series. So things are going to tighten up for sure. There's no question as this series goes on. So this is definitely one of those spots where I feel much more comfortable with a first period over than I do a full game over. No question. And, I know the first 2 games in Vegas went over, but game 3 did not go over for the full game. I prefer, and what we have seen consistently in this series is in the first period, the chances are flying left and right. Like there's tons of open ice, tons of chances. I think there's a lot. I've noticed a pattern big time in this series where in the first 20 minutes, the first period of each of the first 3 games, it's been much looser defensively on both sides. There have been some really good opportunities. There have been breakaways. There have been odd man rushes. It's funny. We saw all the breakaways and we saw all the odd man rushes in the first period of game 3. And we saw none of that pretty much in the second and the third period. It tightened up drastically after the first period. I remember first period game 3, there was a couple breakaways, couple odd man rushes. And you could say the same thing about the first period of game 1 and game 2 in Vegas as well, where it just seems like it's taken both of these teams a period to really dig in defensively. And really be on their toes defensively and marking, their man in the defensive zone and making sure, that they're in the right defensive posture and structure. And structure's gone out the window here in the first periods in these series, in this series so far through the first 3 games. I mean, it has been surprisingly wide open in the first period of each of the first 3 games. And then we've seen it gradually tighten up, especially in game 3. Game 3, after the first period, it really tightened up after that first period. So that is why, for me, with the over, target the first period, maybe be a little bit hesitant when it comes to the full game. So for me, I like Vegas minus 105, over 1.5 minus 125 first period. And as far as props go, look, it's Mr. Repetitive, Mr. Repeat. That's basically what I've become here, but with good reason here in this series. And it's the same props keep on hitting. Jonathan Marchessault, score a point. Jonathan Marchessault to score a goal. The Conn Smythe Trophy favorite as of right now. He's minus 140 at a lot of sports books right now to win the Conn Smythe Trophy. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I talk about the over first period. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You keep betting it. You keep riding it at this point till it loses. Same thing with Marchessault point. Yeah, it's gone up to minus 160 now at FanDuel. I'd still lay $1.60. $1.60 is still a cheap price. Shouldn't be that. It should be minus 200. He should be, to score a point, minus 200, minus 220, like players like Barkov are for the Florida Panthers. So at minus 160, it's still value. Him to score a goal in the plus 160 to plus 180 range again tonight, that's still value for Jonathan Marchessault. The Eichel assist prop, they've adjusted it a little bit, but I'm still seeing some plus 100s, a couple of plus 100 even money prices on Jack Eichel assist at FanDuel and Pinnacle and BetMGM, which is still outstanding value here tonight with Jack Eichel to get an assist. Yeah, I've talked about the other Golden Knights that are capable. Riley Smith to get a point plus money. Ivan Close Shave Barbashev to get a point plus money. Well worth a look. You could even take a shot with Theodore and Pietrangelo. I think tonight it might be a good night to take a shot with Theodore point plus 110, Pietrangelo point plus 120. Why do I say that? I think they shoot the puck more. I think there's more of a concerted effort for them to shoot that puck more from the blue line. That is the one thing they did talk about after game 3. We maybe weren't as active with getting shots from the point through to the net. So definitely take a shot with those two guys, Theodore and Pietrangelo, in terms of finding, the back, not finding the back of the net, but getting on the score sheet with a point at least. And again, you get plus prices with both of those players to get obviously a point. So that's good. As far as Florida goes, Anton Lundell actually has been a sneaky point producer in this series. He finally didn't get a point in game 3, but he had a point in the first 2 games. He's at plus 148 at Pinnacle to get a point tonight, plus 120 at BetMGM and DraftKings. So those are good prices, I think, for maybe a shot with Lundell as far as points go. Matthew Tkachuk goal, plus 140. I mean, who's going to get it done if Florida wins? It's got to be him. And he actually got 2 points, and I actually did get on the over 1.5 points, plus 160 for Matthew Tkachuk in game 3. And he did get 2 points, an assist on the first Florida goal. And then, of course, he got the tying goal. So those were the 2 points right there. Over 1.5 points for Matthew Tkachuk, just based on the price being plus 160. That might be worth a decent look here in this game as well. So, or if you don't like the point prop, you can split it up and go goal and assist. And that's another option. That's another thing too with point props. We don't say this often enough. If you don't like the price with the point prop on a certain player, you could just bet them to score a goal and bet them to get an assist. Split it up with 2 bets, and that's basically betting a point prop right there, because a point's going to be either a goal or an assist. So you got to at least win one of them. So that's another option you have, if you don't like the point prop price on a particular player. So those are the ones I would stick to. We saw the overtime hero Verhaeghe step up with the overtime winner. His point prop minus 150, a little higher, but I wouldn't say that's a horrible look either, or plus 190 for him to score a goal tonight. That's pretty much it. Bobrovsky over saves. I mean, I think now you're going to see Vegas a little bit more on the assertive and aggressive here tonight in game 4. So the save prop probably shifts a little bit back to Sergei Bobrovsky maybe being the guy that faces a little bit more rubber tonight, with Vegas coming off that game 3 loss. So 27.5, I definitely would look in that direction. Shots on goal, by the way, and maybe there is some truth to this. And I know our guy in the chat, Cuban, Wayne Gretzky's talked about this, and it's kind of true. I mean, the players that just have become a dad, they just become a new father. It's amazing how when they come back to the lineup after, their wife gives birth to their kid, they make an impact. They score a goal, they get on the score sheet, they get on the scoreboard, and that's exactly what happened with Brandon Montour in game 3, scoring the opening goal for the Florida Panthers. And, he shot the puck a ton, about as easy as it gets with his over shots on goal prop, over 3.5. So maybe you look in that direction again. He's feeling it now. He's running off adrenaline now. He just became a dad. earlier this week. But, and I went back and looked, and it's pretty crazy how often that happens, where the new dad, factor ends up resulting in that player, when they come back into the lineup, rejoin the team, they make an impact. It's pretty crazy. So Montour did that the other night, obviously, for the Florida Panthers. So it's another thing to consider, at least here for Game 4 tonight in this one. All right, there you go. That's Game 4. I told you it would be a pretty short show with this one as we talk Game 4, Stanley Cup Final with the Golden Knights and the Panthers. I do want to mention that now, with Florida having won on Thursday night in Game 3 to make it 2-1, which guarantees that we will have a Game 5 here in the Stanley Cup Final, that we will have at least one more Ice Guys live betcast here in the Stanley Cup Final, and it'll come your way on Tuesday night, June 13th at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. I'm just going to put it on the screen right there. There we go. Tuesday night, June 13th, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. We are back for another Ice Guys Stanley Cup Final live betcast for Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final, back at T-Mobile Arena in Vegas. It'll either be 3-1 Golden Knights looking to close out the series and win their first Stanley Cup in franchise history, or it'll be down to a best of 3 with the series tied 2-2 going back to Vegas for Game 5 on Tuesday night. So there you have it. Our next betcast coming your way Tuesday night, June 13th, 8 p.m. Eastern, Game 5, Stanley Cup Final. Don't you dare miss it. Live betting commentary with me, with Alex, with all of our viewers and listeners who wish to join us as guests on the betcast. And if you wish to join us, make sure you DM me at Bobano on Twitter or email bobano350@gmail.com, and we will send you a link for the betcast before it begins on Tuesday night. So there you go. Thanks to Florida's win Thursday night, we will have at least one more betcast here in the Stanley Cup Final and for the season, Tuesday night, June 13th, for Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final. Tuesday night, Ice Guys live betcast, Stanley Cup Final, Game 5. Be there. All right, and reminder, patreon.com/Ice Guys, just $10 a month. We've got goalie charts, totals charts, power ratings, Ice Guys show betting card. We've got bonus content. We have a few more pieces of bonus content coming your way this week and next week. More interviews with current and former players. We've got some big-time ones planned for the summer during the off-season to keep the flow of content going at least a little bit, even though we won't be doing regular shows anymore. It's kind of our vacation, if you will. But we will have a few player interview, bonus Patreon member exclusive pieces of content throughout the summer. So again, it's only $10 a month, and it's a great way to show support for the show. And it's the best way to support the show. Subscribe to the Patreon Ice Guys page, patreon.com/Ice Guys, just $10 a month for that. And make sure you check out the store as well, iceguys.myspreadshop.com, and get yourself some Ice Guys merch for the summer. All right, best bet to wrap up the show coming right up after we hear from both of our great sponsors, Gramco and Manscaped.
Support for the Ice Guys is brought to you by Gramco. Whether you or your team's game is on the field, screen, racetrack, court, or the ice, Gramco is for the game. Grown by farmers who spent years developing premium hemp genetics, Gramco provides customers with consistent quality Delta 8 THC products ready for any occasion. Gramco currently offers numerous Delta 8 products, including vape cartridges, disposable vapes, pre-rolls, gummies, wake and bake coffee, and more. Gramco offers an enjoyable, legal high delivered discreetly and directly to you. Gramco is also available at many American retailers as well. You can get the best Delta 8 cannabis products on the market shipped quickly and discreetly from Gramco. And if you visit www.thegramco.com, use promo code IceGuys, you will get 20% off of every order, and any order that's on the site over $50 will be shipped free with standard shipping. So live elevated with Gramco and check out their wonderful Delta 8 products today.
Support for the Ice Guys is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 7 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you, 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the promo code ICEGUYS. That's promo code ICEGUYS at manscaped.com. If my math is correct, it's about 14 million balls that you can preserve. The Performance Package 4.0 is the complete accessory package to take care of everything that is required. You've got, of course, the Lawnmower 4.0. Takes care of your facial hair and among other things. You've got, of course, the Weed Whacker. I'm approaching 40. Nose hair has become a major issue. It pisses the hell out of me. I need to take care of that shit, and the Weed Whacker can help you do that. Both of these products, waterproof and a 4000K LED spotlight for a more precise shave. And you'll also be able to take care of those delicate areas with the ball toner, with the ball deodorant, keep you smelling good, looking good, and feeling good down in the nether regions. This complete Performance Package 4.0 will take care of everything for you, for all you guys out there, and it's courtesy of our good friends at manscaped.com. So get 20% off and free shipping with the promo code ICEGUYS at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. And use promo code ICEGUYS. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. All right, it is time for best bet here. And look, we're going right back to it. Over 1.5, man. It just keeps winning. It's what I feel best about in this game once again. And we have seen fast starts throughout this series, particularly in the opening 20 minutes. So we're going right back to it. Over 1.5 minus 125. First period for Game 4, Vegas, Florida. Best bet. Right there. All right, that is a wrap. We thank you for joining us. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. And again, we've got not many shows left. I mean, we are really at the point now where we're getting down to the nitty-gritty, if you will, of this season of the Ice Guys show. But it's been one hell of a season, and we will try to finish it off strong in our remaining shows and remaining games. And, of course, we will have Patreon bonus content throughout the summer. And of course, we will have our free agency recap show, which we do every year in July. So we will still have some stuff going on throughout the summer. That is a wrap. Thank you for joining us. Hit the like button. We'll be back Tuesday. We got 2 shows on Tuesday. Our daily show, of course, at 2 p.m. Eastern to preview Game 5, and our Ice Guys Live Betcast Tuesday night, Game 5. Make sure you join us for that. And again, the Ice Guys is live every Stanley Cup Final game day for the rest of the season. And if you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio podcast form. I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Saturday. Enjoy the game tonight, and we will see you again on Tuesday for another edition of the Ice Guys presented by National Hockey Now.